What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So you all know that Sun and Moon boxes have been doing great over the past 5 months, 6 months, even year, right? These boxes just continue to move up. If you look on TCG Player, Team Up's graph is slowly starting to catch up. It's still about $6,400, so about $3,000 behind where it needs to be. But you can see just the ridiculous growth, even on TCG Player's graph, 166% ROI over the past 12 months. And realistically, it's probably like 400%, 300%, something like that instead. But that's doing great. Sun and Moon era, awesome. Black and White era. We haven't talked about Black and White too much on the channel, but even these boxes have been moving up over the past year. They've been doing awesome. Sword and Shield era, if you guys have been here, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, all of those sets have just been doing really well over the past year. So it should be no surprise to people that the XY era is also doing very well and is continuing to move up month over month. Guys, it is ridiculous. Like every time I do a spreadsheet update, because I only look at XY once a month, and I'm actually going to start looking at Black and White too and doing like a serious update for that I don't know if I'm going to do it monthly just because it's Black and White era, but maybe every 2 months, 3 months, I'll have to figure that out. But XY, I'm just baffled by the growth we're seeing on these boxes every single month. They just continue to climb. XY, Furious Fist, this is just one box that I brought up. We're not going to talk about every box. I'm also not done the spreadsheet. I'm recording this about 2 p.m. I'm running a little bit behind today, but the spreadsheet will be done today if you guys want to go look at all the numbers. But Furious Fist, I mean, this is up month over month. I think the average sale price was like $3,900, and there were 6 sales worldwide. And I think last month there was only like 3 sales. So some of these boxes too, that like they are moving. Obviously not as many as Sword and Shield era, Sun and Moon era, but 5, 6 sales a month worldwide on like a $3,000-$4,000 box. That's pretty respectable. Another one, Phantom Forces. I mean, if you go back to mid-April, May, there were sales of this box around $6,000, $6,500. We had 2 sales worldwide on eBay over the past 30 days, and they, I believe, averaged somewhere around $11,500. It might have been a little bit higher than that, but into the 5 digits now is Phantom Forces. So these boxes are very rare. They do not pop up often, and when they do, they're normally overpriced. There's one seller right now that has a couple of these up around 11,000 USD, 12,000 USD, but it's also a seller that put a listing up like over a month ago, and they sold a box for I think 6,000 USD. And then if you go look at their feedback, I think the person complained that they didn't actually send it out. They canceled the order or whatever. So it's very rare that this box comes up from a legit seller and the sales go through. But when they do at this point, they're into the 5 digits. And all of XY era at this point is basically selling for more than $1,000. Steam Siege, I think, is the only box under, but last month it was around 930-ish average sale price. The month before that it was like 800. Before that it was 700. So I'm not going to be surprised this afternoon when I go check the data if it's selling average sale price over $1,000. I think that's just inevitable. And it really does seem like we're seeing a shift in the meta when it comes to investing in Pokemon. For the longest time, a set like Flashfire, Primal Clash, Roaring Skies, the first couple years, maybe even 3 to 4 years, they did absolutely nothing. I mean, Roaring Skies got tons of reprints. You can go watch Rudy's video when he's talking about picking these up for, what was it, like $65, $68 from distro. Also, by the way, fun fact, because, Rudy in his last video, the same guy who said Fusion Strike's going to be more expensive than Evolving Skies, said that Roaring Skies was selling at the same price as Evolving Skies, and that made no sense to him. I completely disagree with that point, but this month too, Roaring Skies, I think the average sale price was close to like $2,800, so it's selling for, what is that, 40% more than Evo Skies currently. But all of these sets like Roaring Skies, Primal Clash, Flashfire, you would see them not really do too much for the first couple years, then we'd have a spike once they go to rotation. But normally, like these older sets from XY era, Sun and Moon era, Sword and Shield era, up to like maybe mid 2023, maybe even 2024, honestly, like mid 2024, these sets after their first few years, like the first 5 years, you'd see that ROI come down year over year, and people weren't valuing these older sets as much in terms of investment vehicles. But now people are turning to XY era, they're turning to Sun and Moon era, Black and White era, even some vintage boxes, and seeing massive gains, larger than even Sword and Shield era and Scarlet and Violet era over the past 12 months, and even more recently, like the past 6 to 8 months. Those boxes have absolutely outperformed anything outside of maybe Evolving Skies from the Sword and Shield era and the Scarlet and Violet era. And I have a feeling part of this is rip and ship culture and, some of these boxes just being opened. But I think part of it too is just new money entering the hobby and new kind of whales entering the hobby. People looking at this as something that's long term, as a collectible, and really valuing some of these items that are super rare and don't pop up that often on the marketplace to be purchased. Whereas even as recent as a year ago, a lot of people didn't value these. They kind of looked towards the Sword and Shield era and stuff that just went out of print, and that's kind of where they would make their very large gain. You'd see boxes start to, go up 60-70% after they went out of stock, maybe the next 12 months after that. But things have just absolutely changed at this point. It is wild. I don't know if it's going to continue. My thoughts when I look at all of these older eras popping off is that eventually that's going to happen to Sword and Shield. I mean, these boxes, compared to anything from the Sun and Moon era or the XY era or obviously the Black and White era at this point, are that a lot of these boxes are very cheap. If a garbage set like Steam Siege can be selling for $900 to $1,000, if mid-tier sets like, I don't know, a Roaring Skies or a Furious Fist, if these can be selling for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, I think eventually your Fusion Strike, your Lost Origin, your Brilliant, they will eventually get there. And I know we've been talking a lot about booster box in this video, but it's not just that. Also the ETB Generations from the XY era. This box has just gone insane over the past few months. If you go back to like April, May, you were seeing sales around $500-$600, maybe the odd sale up to $700. And then month over month, it kind of jumped to like $850, then $1,000, then $1,150. Now we're at like $1,300 or $1,400 in terms of like average sale price. It actually might even be a little bit higher than that. I need to go double check my numbers, but very, very expensive boxes. We also saw a sealed case of Roaring Skies sell over the past month, and it sold for $20,000 approximately USD. I think it'd be very cool to see something super rare like a case of Phantom Forces come to market. Maybe even something like Plasma Freeze. I know that's Black and White era, but just seeing one of these very old sets, a sealed case popping up, it would just be an insane sale or auction, whatever happens. And I think at the age of like the XY era, Black and White era, we really do have to look at sealed cases as something completely different from just the regular booster box that's sealed, because it's just so rare. It does not pop up. And my guess is if someone threw up a case of Phantom Forces, they'd probably just put it up for like $100,000 and see what happens. I mean, if boxes are selling for like $11,000, $12,000 at this point, that's 72-ish grand. So it wouldn't surprise me if someone wanted to put like a 20% premium on top of that. But that is going to be it for the video. To sum everything up, XY era, at least what I've seen so far, I haven't finished the update this month, but most of the booster boxes I've already looked at, Generations ETB, everything is just continuing to move up. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think of this. I'm sure a lot of you guys who have been around a while, you've probably owned some of these XY sets. You probably own Generations ETBs. I think even early last year, like late 2023, Hobbiesville still had Generations ETBs up for like 600 Canadian, 700 Canadian or something like that. Like, it was wild. You could still find this stuff super, super cheap. And I know that I'm not the only person regretting not at least getting a little bit of exposure to this and holding on to some of it. So it is what it is, guys. That's part of investing. We can't look back to the past with regret. We can only move forward and learn from our mistakes. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you got some value of this content, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. Stay safe wherever you guys are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.